Hi guys, sorry about that. It took a few seconds to kind of click that on, but it is Miss Polly. How are you guys today? If you guys are coming back, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are new and this is your first time kind of checking out my channel, I talk about relationships and how those relationships coincide with having a good life and lifestyle. I also talk about being poly because I do live that lifestyle. I talk about being monogamous and actually living in lifestyles, which is also an alternative lifestyle that a lot of people choose to be in. So we do talk about that. Sometimes we discuss other things about behaviors and things like that. We also talk about being healthy and also how relationships with other things work too, like relationship with food, our relationship with our children, our relationships um, with our job, and things like that. So it's not really just isolated into poly, but learning how to compartmentalize, learning how to be able to work and understand and communicate with other people who are different than you and more than one of them is a positive thing that you can not only use if you're poly, but you can also use in your regular lifestyle. If your lifestyle is just monogamy, you can still use it there. If your life is surrounded by lifestyles, you can use it there. So there's lots of great things that you can learn from being part of our channel and learning from the experiences I've had and the experiences of some of my friends and family members or partners and the ones who we love to share and they can share those things with you. So today, we have as a poly talk, as you guys can clearly see, um, we have not done a long poly talk in a minute, but today we're going to be talking about third partners. If you don't know me, let's just rewind a little bit. Um, I am polyamorous by definition, um, but I live very, very close to the lifestyle of someone who is polyandry. Let's get our definitions right for new people. So polyamorous is a person who has multiple loves, and their partners may have other partners too. I have a video, if you'd like to look back, it'll kind of describe what polyandry is, polygamy, and polyamorous is. If you need to go check that out, please check out that video. It can explain in better detail. But yes, I am technically polyamorous, but I live very close to the lifestyle of polyandry. Polyandry is a woman who has multiple male partners, but their male partners don't have any female partners. Um, it just so happens that most of the time when I do date monogamous people. And when I end up dating monogamous people, they have the option to date other people if they'd like to or see other women. But my partners don't have any other serious relationships outside of mine. Um, for the two partners I've been with the longest. As I've been trying to add a third partner that's going to be more of a long-term partner, I have, you know, kind of initiated that interaction, and that person is more a non-monogamous person. So they're not in the mindset they would ever want to be monogamous, but um, if they want to at this moment have a more serious partner on that role, that's maybe not something they're looking for exactly at this moment. But it doesn't mean they're not going to have interactions with other people. It's just what it means. So just get that out the way. But for me, um, it's always been very, very interesting to see my particular dynamic because I don't really see anyone like me. And for me to have a third is like kind of like, yeah, like, you get really excited about it. But a lot of times, thirds don't seem to be the long term ones. Um, in my case, I haven't had really an extremely long term third in a good minute. Last time I had three partners, long term, probably like 2 years ago. About 2 years ago. I should have said three. It was around 2.5 years ago, and that was a really interesting time. But we'll go that down that lane another time. But I definitely say it's been a while since it happened, and so me looking for a third has been something I've been trying to make sure I find the right fit. Okay, and that's really, really important. So a lot of people who are coming into poly, because I've noticed now, poly has opened up. I have some really great material I'd like to share with you guys about, um, my views on being poly in this new kind of era of dating that we're going into. I also have some projects I'm looking into doing um, with a gentleman that I met also, so that we could talk about those kind of things. And his perception on it is very interesting. So, that's some content we can put out there. As you guys know, I do put out content um, about poly and all that great stuff also on Instagram. So, you guys check out that. If you guys haven't seen any videos here, there's probably a few videos I've done on Instagram too. My name is still the same on there, guys. So, back to our third. So, I want to do a quick little interview. Thank you guys for holding out for the 7 minutes of an introduction. Oh Lord. Okay, so um, I have some wonderful questions that were asked, and we're going to go down that list and answer those for you. Okay, so first thing with new partner. Who's a new partner, right? So my new partner is someone I met actually on a dating app. I do date regular, so I just put all my information on the app, and then whoever comes and talks to me, that's who I usually will try to reach out to or things like that, right? So I did that. I met them on an app. At first, I didn't really look into a whole bunch of information about them. A lot of people are like, "Well, I was doing all this research." I'm a kind of person to some extent all the research, but I want you to show me who you are because maybe you're going through a phase where you're changing from that person that you were, and if I'm just deep diving into that, then I may not give you the opportunity to show me who you are. And I'm not saying don't avoid red flags. Like if you see something crazy, yeah, but I'm not going to investigate your whole family before we meet, which women tend to do sometimes. So I'll do some light looking over, but I would like you to tell me who you are as part of me getting to know you as a person, and I don't want to miss out on that because I have other things stuck in my head. But I do have the information, the basic information in the back of my mind. Right? All right. So, yes, I started talking to him probably about August time. Um, and, when we first met, it was really, really interesting. Um, I'd say it's really interesting because first thing is when I met him, I was a little nervous because as usual, if they're not poly, I'm a little nervous if they're really wanting to talk to me. That's one thing. Um, he, he's black. Um, he is, like I say, he's non-monogamous. When he told me that, I was like, okay. Um, but he was in more monogamous relationships before that. Um, he, I didn't ask him his age at first, but he is in his 40s, mid 40s, um, which I usually, for some reason, like I battle with men in their 40s. I just, I don't know what that is. Like, it's nothing wrong with men in 40s, but for some reason, like I think it is the age difference. Of course it is, right? The age difference to some degree, it just like I feel like they've lived this life already that I'm still going through, and I feel like um, if I'm still in the learning process and I'm still like, okay, well, I want to go through this and experience this, they're kind of trying to either save me from the experience because they know already, or they try, and that's understandable. But the first thing in my mind is like, let me have the experience. Um, but then I also second guess myself and say, oh no, maybe I don't want to have the bad experience because they know. And so there's a battle internally with me on that. Sometimes we'll bump heads because a lot of gentlemen in that age range, they've seen a lot of pimps in their day. They've seen a lot of things like that. So they did a lot of lifestyle things. And so when I refer to poly as something that is not just sexual, um, they tend to not see the line between the two as much as I do. Um, So when I'm speaking to them, maybe sometimes I'll be like, hey, you know what? This, why are you poly is a big question. And a lot of times I'll say, I have the ability to love more than one person. And that's something I would like to pursue. And for them, it's like, oh, so you just want to, run around. And this happens with men and women. So don't get me wrong, because I've actually had a woman be like, oh, I used to do that. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm open to the conversation. And then they'll be like, yeah, I had a man came fix my car, another guy who did this, another guy who did this. And I'm like, no, that's not like what I do. And so I have to kind of explain it because it comes off as if, I'm only talking to these people to get what they can give me, and that's all I want from them. I just want them to come fix my car. I just want them to come and repair some things in my house. I just want them to pay for something because I feel like I can't do it or I can't provide for myself. Or even if you can, like I'm not just calling someone over because I want him to, blow my back out. Like it's the whole experience. I don't want a piece of a person. I want the whole person. And I think men and women in that age frame tend to not see that line or vision that I see. And even now in this relationship, there is a lot of conversations that I've had that make me think because a lot of times, um, you know, my view on something is one way, but somehow someone else views it can be different. And that's really important to be able to hear how someone else sees something, regardless if you agree or not. Because I don't have to agree with you to try to understand where you're coming from. And even if, I'm in doubt or I think I'm incorrect, or, or anything like that, like, it's more about learning from the experience, regardless of the outcome. And that's where it's like, so I didn't really ask his age until later. So that then I was like, oh, and because when we were talking, I didn't notice that a little bit. And then I was like, And one day I was like, well, how old are you? Like I had to ask. And I was like, that makes sense. But wasn't bad enough where like it was like F it. I definitely questioned if the reason why like um we were talking, was it more for educational purposes, research purposes, or was it because we liked each other? And that was a concern of mine. But I think that's always my concern. And you probably may know, I've as a lady, I've dated try to explain poly to men, and it usually ends up in like a whole teaching progress. Like I'm teaching them all about this stuff, and they ask me a lot of questions about detailed stuff, like, "Oh, what would it look like if this?" And they ask so many questions that I really don't have the answer to yet. Like, "Oh, what would it look like if I came to your house and then on Wednesdays?" And then I'm like we haven't got to that point. Like, and what I mean by that is like, do you even like me? Like, did you want to come to my house? Like, we haven't got to that place. And it's like, they want me to have all the information, and I don't have it yet. But I also realized too, as this journey of my own of growth, that the more and more I realize, men are very logical. They thinking, they expect a plan. And if I am the one who knows all the information about quote unquote this path, and they don't know as much, then I need to have the answers. And that was a big part of dating monogamous, was being well educated uh, in what I'm doing so that I can offer answers to people who need it. It's like the it's like the most important thing, because if you're dating anyone monogamous, they're gonna have questions and you need to have answers and not get thrown off. And even now I sometimes question some of those things for myself, like I said before in previous videos. So I didn't start off in the mindset of being poly. I feel like I was naturally poly to start with, but I transitioned to know that, like, okay, you can't be polymonosis. That's not like a thing. And so I just said, okay, you're monogamous. You just be who you are. I'm a loyal, kind person, and you just be who you are, and you don't hurt people's feelings and things like that. So like, I'm a very loyal person to my partners and my boyfriends. And I've been monogamous for a long period of time, didn't cheat, and all that good stuff. And then later in life, we opened up another part with someone I was with for a very long time. So, and this is something I just let them know I would like to try, and they agreed to try with me. So with all of that, it's like, okay. So that is interesting. So that it sometimes throws me off if someone wants to talk to me, or they just want to be poly. And it's a really big question, because you have to know there are sometimes you talk to a guy or a woman that they don't really want technically you at that moment. They want to just try the experience of being poly. And then you have to see if that's something you would want to do. And that kind of throws you off. So just be aware of that. Don't be upset about it, because every person who see poly wonders about it. The first thing is that they just want to try it. And there's not a lot of people who are like saying, hey, we're doing poly all over the place, out loud. So what happens is they'll just, whoever said they're down already, they're going to jump on board. And that's where bad pairing takes place, pairing partners. So that was a good question I had asked myself. The next thing I did was, we just had like a really good long conversations about things, broke down things. Um, he asked me a lot of questions. He definitely makes me think. So those are things that I kind of started off the relationship. Okay, let's see here. Let me just add a little more. So yeah, um, what makes him? What makes me nervous? Well, I'll say what makes me nervous is sometimes um, knowing him as a person now, that he is someone who's leading, is a big leader, and in this dynamic it's a little different. I will say, when I say leading, is someone in a relationship who wants to apply a plan to the people in their life, and that's really important. But it's a little different when there's more than a person involved. So you have to take time to kind of see where that goes to. There's no, I would say for me, there's no like, oh, hey, there's a direct answer. Like I said, sometimes it is like kind of seeing how things fall in place, and if they're meant to be, to have them fall in place, right? So that makes me a little nervous to see if it's really going to fall in place, because at this point, I really value that relationship. So yeah, like I said, it's been probably about 3 months. So yeah, it's important. Okay, so what makes me excited about this relationship? I would say I am really excited about the fact that I feel like I'm growing as a person. I'm learning lots of things, learning how to be better at the craft that I really do enjoy. Um, I since we do not, I don't want to say we don't just we disagree, because I think I'm in a place, and I know they're like, oh, women after a certain age don't want to listen to anybody. I think to some extent, yes, I have learned certain things and a way to do things. Yes, but me as a person, I want to be the best me, and so I'm not close to those things. But um, the initial like hearing of something, sometimes I'm like, oh, or I don't know, and I think that is something that we can work on. Whether that we can work on, like like me taking in stuff too, um, and analyzing it. Um, and what I mean by that, I'm saying a lot. It's really like getting to the place where you fully can trust someone. And we're early on in that relationship still. But when you trust someone, when they tell you something, you don't question it. And I think there was a time I even said this, and I know lie because I do lies a lot. I said you can really tell your partner to trust you if one day they're walking by, and you just tell them to do something, and they just do it without thinking. So like if your partner walks by and you say, hey, like jump, and like yeah, they might if they stop look at you like jump, and they do it, and they're like, why'd I do that? Is they really trust you. They really trust you because at that point it didn't matter because when you ask me to do something, doesn't matter the reason. It's not ever going to be hurting me, or it's never going to be in a negative way. At least never on purpose. The intention will never be on purpose. So my first reaction is just to do it, and that takes time to get to that place. Um, and that's really important. So yeah, that's exciting. But yeah, like learning things, seeing a different view. Um, yeah, that's really interesting. Okay, what is the challenges of three? The challenges of three. Challenges of three. I think the most challenging thing of three, which I actually have learned a little bit more about, challenges of three. So when you get to three, depending on how much time that they need or the kind of partners you have, um, time management is important. Time management, making sure people are fulfilled, which you have to do anyway, but it's a little different when you have three closer partners. Um, Making sure time management and their needs are met, making sure that you are, um, you're making sure everybody's aware of the new relationship energy and what that looks like. Because new relationship energy can be very confusing for everybody. Uh, yeah, time management mostly for most part. And I think when you have three, okay, sometimes, like I said, not knowing the true intent of the new third is kind of like, so it's a work in progress. But usually, I don't have an issue with three. I'm fine. It's not uncommon to me. Um, especially if you have expectations laid out and things like that. It's no issue. No issue. But like I said, for some people, it may be an issue. And when there isn't, like if someone has something to say about a relationship, you need to be able to respond and react to that in an appropriate manner and not let things like just sit and fester because it'll be a shit show. Okay, sorry. Okay, it says advise others who want to add a third. So my advice to anyone who wants to add a third long-term partner. So this is really important for long-term partners. Short-term, they come and go. You're not okay. Long-term partners. Big thing. So I always talk about the core values of your partners. I think for men this is really important. Women too, but for men it's really important to find men who core values are very, very similar. Because at the end of the day, regardless of not their whole mind or their all the other things are aligned, the core values, the thing that they value the most, that all of them value that at the most on their list, they're going to better correspond with each other, not just with each other, like when they're like talking to each other. What I mean by that is, like I said, men want to lead, right? So when they tell you something or they want you to do something, there won't be another partner who's going to disagree with what they told you to the extent where it causes a problem. That makes sense what I said. I give an example. Um, if one of your partners is like, oh, you know, I I don't care about anything that's going on with kids or things like that, and you have kids, right? And your one of your other partners really values like time with family and kids, and this one maybe they don't. They're like, oh, it's okay, it's whatever, I don't really care. Well, if one values family and kids more than the other, and they ask you to go, oh, hey, listen, I want to take you, in the middle of the week, to this place for 3 days, then you come back on Friday or something. That and you're like, oh, I don't know what to do. I have to do some other stuff. It's like the values don't match, and so that might bother the other partner. Like, oh, you would do that instead of putting your this first or that first. And yeah, I know that sounds extreme because yeah, why would you want to be with somebody who doesn't value their children? I'm just giving an example of something that could clash. I don't know a whole lot of them because I realized when I was just dating men that I would tell maybe a partner about something the other one said, and they would be like, "Oh, that's really, um, oh, that guy seems like he's really, really like a manipulator or something like that," and you'd be like, "Oh, snap!" Or it's like they are trying to tell you about something this other partner's doing, or they'll be like, "Oh, I don't like that. He sounds too aggressive." Like there are these different things that happen, and it's like, listen, don't go down that road. Core values. So one of my core values is like I said, my partners all like really value family. I'm not saying that all of them want to jump every time their family calls, but value close relationships. And they like to be around family, even if they're not close to all their family moments or whatever. Like they value family. They value um, like honesty. These are the things they value really highly. So there's some other things, but I guess I don't get too personal. That's why it kind of sounds like a little like I'm all over because I try to also, and also a big thing is, so even though we're on social media and everybody wants to learn everybody's business, your relationships are at the end of the day your relationships and they're very personal. And when I share some of my personal things with you guys, there is still a line. There's still a line, and we gotta be careful of that because the things I go through with my partners and what we go through are still private in between us. And so it's even with an individual partner. So like, I'm not going if one partner tells me something very private, I'm not gonna go share that with my other partner just because we're partners. There would have to be some understanding if the other one knows or something like that, or I did like tell them if they don't mind. And that's a discussion. So I do not do that because it's really important to make sure that they know there's a safe place with me and that there are some things that we just share that no one else shares. It makes your relationship very, very special and important. So that's one thing. So sometimes it sounds like I'm just the things I'm saying, oh, that sounds so lame. Well, it's just because I don't use my personal partner's information or our situations, but I'll try to give an example of something. Okay. Um, so it is very important to communicate with each other. So two of my partners, like I said, I've been with them for a good minute, um, over 3 years. Communication with us as a unit still and very, very important. But they have developed their own relationship. So there are some conversations that they have as friends or brothers that I don't have with them. So the communication that they have is different than the ones we have together and then we have separately. So yeah, yeah. I guess the best way to say this, which doesn't sound probably not gonna sound good, because every time I just think of something in my head like this, it usually sounds bad later. Which is, it's like dating two brothers, but they're not blood. That might sound weird when it comes to those two. So it's like they have their own relationship that's cool. They might talk crap about me. I don't know. Okay, whatever. At the end of the day, it's none of my business. And then it's like we individual have your own relationship. So it's interesting. I don't know. I'm probably gonna regret saying that later. I don't know. Anyway, so and then as I said, then our new partner, um, this is a very, very interesting, unique relationship because of so many things. And so this is something that I love to see where it goes. Like, it's worth every moment getting to know them and kind of seeing where it will go, trying to be better, not only in the relationship, but better as a person, making sure that I am not being closed minded to information that's given to me, um, and not always being sensitive about how something's being said. Um, because I'm a big person on it's not about what you say, it's how you say it. And okay, so I usually date realists. Realists don't care. So when they don't care and they say it the way they want to say it, and I'm not saying they shouldn't say what they say. See, I'm already saying I didn't say that, but what I'm saying is that like if the first initial is like, oh, it's like jumping in cold ice water, and you're like, oh, and then after your body acclimates, you're like, oh, I'm fine. And sometimes that's where it is. A lot of times, and so sometimes I hope that will eventually stop happening, um, because at the end of the day, even if that happens, it's never worth us not interacting with each other. It's gonna get better every day. So I'm a very positive place about it, and I enjoy the moments I have with them and the time that I choose spend learning more about them. And it's going to be an exciting process, regardless um, of anything that may happen. I know that every day I'm learning something new and becoming better, and that's all that matters. So yeah. Mhm, 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 right. So I wanted to share that with you. If you guys have any other comments or questions below about adding the third, please do it. This is just my experience with my new partner. I can surely make another video about thirds in general. Like I said, again, reiterate this, there are not a whole lot of people who are in polygamy, polyandry, and polyamorous. Threes are like very, very difficult. Actually, fours are easier than threes. You may think that's a lie. It is true. Fours are easier than threes. And I think I know why, but that's another video. I think I know why. But threes are hard. They just be struggling. Not the third themselves. I make sure I reiterate that. Not the third themselves. Groups of three. And what I mean by that is you do not count, but you have three partners. That is where what I mean by thirds. Thirds are serious. Not me and two ladies like guys have sometimes, because that's threes. Those are a little tricky, but they got nothing on. They got nothing on you and three partners. It's got nothing. Nothing, nothing, nothing. And there's so much to that, even to the point where, those numbers starting to get high. You get past three, it's kind of getting wild. And a lot of the questions that go to people's heads, women are to have different questions than men. Like, what's my purpose? How am I contributing to you in your life? You already have this many. There are so many more questions one is you, and you're three. It just is. Just opens the door. I'm telling you right now. I've done it more than once. Very rare. But let you get folk. Change the dynamic. Whole dynamic change. I don't know why. It just always like that. Always like that. But you know, the tripods, they pretty decent. Most tripods can work pretty okay. It's always those threes. Just I tell you. Always three. But anyway, so if you guys, like I said, hit below, like this video, thumbs up for me. Go ahead and share it too. Share it around. We want to give out information and inform people about polyandry. Like I said, if you have any questions, we'll come back and do it. Ask Miss Polly, and then you guys can ask those questions that you like to ask, and then I'll answer them for you. Let's see here. The next video, we're gonna do a partner update. This one will be with Hollywood. So he will not be there. He will not be there. And then I will, like, just like this one, like they won't be with me. At least I don't think so. You guys know they don't like being on camera. Like it's a no go. They don't like it, and that's okay. I respect their wishes. I'm not trying to fight with anybody, and I don't want nobody looking sad on camera. It's just too much. Listen, so I might get some statements from them though. I might do that. I could do that. You know, it's like they get so like, oh my God, why 80? I'm like, okay. So maybe we can get Esmond to do, or E to do a date. He did one a little while ago, so but you know, he's more willing to get on camera. So yes, you guys go ahead and subscribe, share, and if you want to add a comment, I appreciate it. Check me out on the other videos I have about polyandry or polyamorous lifestyles. And then I'll see you guys in a little bit. I won't make this video too long. Thank you for listening to me chitter chatter. And then we're going to go forward. Check you guys out on other people's channels too, because you have a whole bunch of shout outs we're going to do. But I will see you guys later. Thank you for watching. Bye.